You're following me closely, so I'm giving you, upfront and personal on how I made $30,000. Now, take note. The week before I made 30K, I made 8K, and the week before I made 8K, or even the same week I made 8K, I made 4K. So the whole thing played out, pretty much 2 weeks, and I was able to scale 1K to 30K. Now, let me tell you how it worked. So, we had a couple of trades. Really, February was a very decent month for me. February was a very fantastic month for me. From the first week of February, we had some setups. We were easily doing 1K to 10K. And funny enough, it was like the first try, I did about 15K. That was 500 to 6K. And then I eventually did 500 to 7K again. Right. Then we got to the second setup. Second week of February, we made some attempts. I think I started second week of February rough because I think I lost like 3-8 or something like that. Then we got a setup which I took on my account on TradingView where I did 1K to 10K and I linked it to my FX book. It was 9K. Now what I did was I split that 9K into two, 4-5 on one side and then 5K something on the other side. Then the following day I had two setups. I had three setups. I had the Euro NZD, this buy you're looking at here. Then I also had Euro JPY. I think, yeah, I did. I had Euro JPY. I'm gonna have to adjust these things so that I'll be able to see. Yeah, so I had these ones and these ones failed. So we started off the week with these two losing trades where I shared the EJ, it was in profit, and you can see it kind of just ranged around. Eventually it dropped and some people did make money, but I lost 4K on this, two different positions. Then I was left with around 4K something. Then I had to like chill. Then shortly after that, I it was like 4K left on the account. I further took another loss, and I think what loss was that? I think I entered Euro NZD eventually, which I ended up taking a loss on. Then I just decided, you know what? Out of the remaining, I think it was left with like 2 point something K. I split it into two. Then I had 1-1. So out of 1-1, I saw Euro AUD pushing, very heavy. As at the time, I saw that price broke through this second zone here. And then I saw that price also broke through this zone on Euro AUD. Now, the trade, for those of you who follow me very well, the trade we caught our big move on was GBP AUD. And some of you were asking me, hey, King, what was your thought process behind this trade? Well, my strategy, I used LBS, but this one was just based on pure understanding of market dynamics. First things first, you can already see that my order flow was telling me, yes, we are significantly bullish here. And I was actually like, FOMO. I was like, if you don't get in now that you're relatively closer to the POC, any other entry here, unless I want a very large stop loss range, any entry here would be very risky. So I just had to put a buy stop here, as at the time price was here, and I had to jump in. Now I jumped in mostly because price already pulled into the 50% on this fib level, and price already broke this and this. As at the time I entered, price was already past this point, and in my mind I was like two significant highs have been broken, so it's most likely that GBP AUD is also going to break two significant highs. At the time of entry, you notice that price was still struggling to break this first significant high. I didn't count this as my second significant high here. Rather, I used a 4 hour time frame high to count it, mostly because I will also show you there is a daily time frame order block sitting here. So if we go towards this side, you can see that this is inducement and this is track 1 2. So our double inducement has been spotted. Now when I say double inducement, don't get it wrong. Double inducement is not a thing per se. You just want to make sure that your inducement, or whatever points of liquidity is there, has been swept. Do you understand? It's just a trap but you want to confirm that there are two significant points and you see the other block. So this was my profit target. But as we were pushing up, I, got concerned because this is a rally and every rally must have a pullback. Now, I didn't see price just shooting through like this. I did see some healthy ascension. That is why, even as though price got up to this point, I still held. Now, the first move I did was 1K to 10K, but with the time I was closing, I was able to, close around 5K. Then it was easier for me to now move 5K and eventually close that, I think, 27. Then I just jumped in some minor positions that pushed me to 30K, and then I was done. Now the market eventually gathered momentum again and, was able to fire down, but by then I was already out of the trade. I was no longer interested in taking that I was no longer interested in taking that setup anymore. So yes, that was precisely how we did it. Now I was trying to now I didn't per se, I didn't post it as a signal, right? I didn't post the signal, but I didn't post the signal, but I showed the progress of the trade. So this is when we were at 5K and we pushed from 5 to 27K. You can see that. I even made a video of it too. This was when we were sitting at 17. So this was the whole journey from when we, so this was when we were from 1 to 8. One sec. Yeah, so that was precisely how I was able to navigate. So this is when price went from 1 to 8. And yeah, pretty much. So I made, yeah, so this was the Euro JPY 2K loss, and I think there were two losses actually. So this is 1 to 4K. Yeah, this is just me showing you guys how the whole thing played out. And then prior to that, this is the other week I was talking about where we did 4 to 10. This was the 4 to 10K that we did, that I linked to my FX book, and then I showed that to you guys as well. Yeah, so if you check through, February has just like really been a fantastic week. Of course, we take losses. Like anybody that whines you and says there are no losses in the game, that is just bullshit. We do take losses, and but at the end of the day, you will notice that um loss or no loss, profit is being made, right? And we are carefully analyzing these trades too, so you know that we're not like, doing rough work. Sorry. Yeah. So for those who watch this video today, on the day that I released it, there are some setups I'm looking at. Now, trading reversals is not really a smart idea, but if we see a break from this level here, a solid break here, I would actually be looking at making entries, but long-term entries. So I'm like super bullish on these pairs. All these ones, I'll be waiting for price to pull back. They are significantly, like, heavily bought. There's a lot of opportunities coming up on GJ for sales from what I'm seeing here. As you can see, we have a slow and quite healthy decline. Now, this POC and this other block is where my eye would be at on the daily time frame. But of course, we need to have a 4 hour point of view. There is inducement here, and there is a breaker that might be used here. But if that is not used, then all of these places here will get broken. Of course, you have to actually measure from when the original price started to reverse. So this one doesn't look that healthy, so it should be disregarded. This one, there was a break, and actually price has used that, right? There hasn't been a fresh break from here. If there is a fresh break from this point, right, then yeah, but to counter that, you have all of this now forming. So this is a healthy break which can serve as the change of character, because this was a heavy push. Now this is where you start to count your break of structure at this point. So your break of structure here should be valid. So now I'll pretty much drop down to 2 hours time frame. So you have this and this, right? Now this is the order block that was used already. So the fact that this order block, if it doesn't, hold up, then we're possibly going to see a sweep of that liquidity. And the next place to look out for would be, okay, so here too has already been mitigated. So you should probably now start to look at this one here. So yeah, so this is what I'll be looking out for. I'll be waiting for price to come here, and that would make a shit ton of sense because there is inducement here to here, and within that significant structure there is also a ton of inducement here. So and the fact that many people would have already jumped in here tells me that if that zone does get broken, like if this level gets cleared, this is where price is most likely going to react from. So this is like, to me, on GJ, because GJ has really, favored me a lot lately. So this is pretty much what I would be anticipating. I usually like to look at the number of pips. So 300 pips is very rewarding. I might be risking 10k in the market this week. I might be risking 10k in the market this week, or I might just decide to keep it conservative and risk just 5k. As you guys saw, I did make withdrawals as well. So if I scroll down to the very last, okay, I don't think I posted the withdrawals here, but yeah, I did make some withdrawals. I made a withdrawal of 20k. I don't know, I don't think I posted it here, but I made a withdrawal of 20k. So my plan is to risk 10k in the next week. But in order to just, I might just decide to do 17k. Not 17k, sorry, 7k, and see whether that will make sense. So what I'm waiting for now is, I want to see if this this point here, I want to see if this point here gets cleared. If this point gets cleared as liquidity, then here is probably where we're going to bounce from. Now, if price is, making some very, very, very heavy recoveries, there is actually still something going on here which should not and must not be ignored. But the reason I'm avoiding here is because this, okay, one person might even say this is actually your change of character, and this here is your break of structure. So there is a possibility that price can also come up to this level. But I guess I'll just watch it, because extreme levels sometimes price may not precisely come to that extreme level. But in that scenario we can easily catch over almost, this is pretty much almost 500 pips, and I'm pretty sure if this level is cleared here, it's going to be cleared easy. So we're looking at more than 500 pips. So I will be prioritizing GBP JPY throughout this week, and to me, I'll be looking for sales, mostly because we're on the daily time frame, and I'll be looking for price to create new lows. Remember, we have the first wave here that we've seen already, right? We have the second wave here we've seen already. So this point doesn't get broken, here should reject. If there doesn't reject, here should reject. I don't actually see price creating a new high. If it does, then I'll just probably wait for all the liquidities to get cleared. Maybe here too might even be a level to consider on the higher time frame. But anyway, if that is going to happen, we might as well change our bias to buy temporarily. So yes, another thing I've been asked a lot lately is, okay, King Mans, what is the difference between your strategy and, look, all SMC concepts rely on something, and that thing is your ability to observe liquidity. Remember, liquidity is just what moves the market, the orders in the market. Retail liquidity is there, corporate liquidity is there, um smart money liquidity is there. Now, dumb money is also part of liquidity. Now, the thing is, you want to be as precise as possible. You want to avoid jumping in so early. Now, you cannot get it right all the time. There are times when I've jumped in too early. Those are those losses you're seeing, 2k, 3k. If you notice, you might see me take a loss on GJ, and then eventually I'll bag like 10k or 15k from that GJ, because most of the time it's either I jumped in too early. That's the point of view you have to use to look at the charts, right? So next week I'll be prioritizing all of this. I see this level getting broken. Um, I've not really looked at this point here. Maybe it's something I could absolutely consider in the long run. On the 2 hour time frame, there is a clear order block there that price has actually mitigated. So in my thought process, price touched this order block here for the first time, and it just violated this. And if we do see some heavy bullishness towards this point, then I might as well just wait for price to come up here. Otherwise, I would maybe put in a small position here, and the position I'll put in would just be like a buffer to see if I get it right. And if price does start to reject, then I'll scale it with my proper positions. If I don't do that approach, then I'll put in a small position that I know that the move from here to here will put me in drawdown. But since I'm going to be playing around with like 7K, I might just be in drawdown of like 1K or 2K around this point. Then maybe at this point I can layer in my remaining positions, expose my account properly to the risk I'm ready to take. And as price proceeds, I can then level in on this. And eventually, if we do head down to where we are targeting, all three positions would give me some decent figures. So aside from the fact that technically I already have what I plan to do for the week, technically I've also made my mental prepared for the fact that I'm risking a 7K this week, and this is my priority position. Do you understand? Trying to continue sales. But along the week, something might happen, my biases might change, my thought process might change, and I will just go with the flow, because it's always better to be reactive when it comes to Forex than just trying to jump in at every opportunity that you see. So yes, I just explained to you how I was able to bag 30K dollars, which everybody saw. Go to my IG, is there, it's everything is there with the withdrawals and everything. So I did that last week, and that was the way I closed February. So I ended up making more than 50K in February, and that is facts. And in fact, the last week of February alone, I made 40K. And towards the first week of February, I had done scattered pieces, 4K, 8K. Yeah, so I made way past 50K this February. And yes, we are ready for March. And yeah, so mega announcements. The Abuja Center is live. Hopefully, by the second week of March, we should be fully ready to take every single student. Then aside from that, yeah, so all registrations, you just head over to the website, and try to get your registration sorted out for that. Lagos kicks off their classes tomorrow, Monday, and all online students that I have, Monday we kick off every single thing. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.